Now, if there's one car in my collection that I failed miserably in order to make a update video to, it's gotta be the Losi Mini LMT 1/18 scale monster truck. I was actually very lucky to be one of the first people to receive a public order of this truck and a lot of the parts that came with it. Now the plan for today is I want to show you everything I've done to this truck since purchasing it, all the upgrades I've done to it, and then we'll take it and we'll run it around one of my homemade tracks I made right here in the garage. Okay, starting off with the outside of the vehicle, first thing you're gonna notice is I added these blue and gray aluminum beadlock wheels from Trio. These are very nice and very high quality, so I would highly recommend that. Flipping it over, I also painted the headers on this to more closely resemble that of an actual monster truck. I also threw on some GPM upper and lower links, and then I also added the GPM hardened steel drive shaft. Under the hood, I kept the servo the exact same. I did try and test out adding an upgraded servo to it, but the one thing I found is that without having a servo saver on it, it was constantly knocking the servo out of place and it just didn't really work right. So I do definitely recommend, unless you have a servo saver, keeping the stock servo on it. Next thing I did was add in these hot racing shocks. These are oil filled, and these are gonna be for a Losi Mini T or Mini B. They fit perfectly on here, and what I ended up doing is adding 2 rears. So I didn't do a front and I didn't do a rear. I still kept the shock length the same as it would be for a stock truck, but I just added 2 of the Losi Mini T rears. I also added in some GPM aluminum front upper shock mounts. And then the main attraction for this vehicle is that I added in a brushless system. One of my gripes about this vehicle when it first came out was that it was not brushless. $260 for a little 1/18 scale monster truck and not being brushless seemed like a crime to me. But once I got the vehicle, took it out, played with it, I realized that the brush system that was in it was more than adequate enough for what this truck needed to be. But me being me, I needed to upgrade it and make it better. So I threw in a Spectrum 2-in-1, 6,000 kV little motor right here, and this is gonna be brushless. I will still be running it on the stock 2S LiPos right here. I believe that is more than adequate for what you need. As you can see, when I go and drive this around, it is gonna be way fast for what this garage is. And even if you put it on a 3S or a 4S, it's gonna be way too much out of control. Okay, the track I have set up here is a standard oval course. We have the flywheel ramp set up over there, so I can have a regular ramp on one side and then also the backflip ramp on the other, so that way this can be run in reverse. Start, stop gate, then over here we kind of just have some old bodies set up right here, so it can be kind of like the OG Monster Jam body crushers. Now this is on 2S. What I'll do is I'll do a couple donuts and just show you how absolutely powerful this thing is on this brushless system. This thing screams, and again, that's only on 2S. That's not even 3S. Now what I've done here is I resembled that of what would be a normal Monster Jam style track that you would see, you know, obviously if you went to Monster Jam. And this is what I believe is gonna be running at your local course when they do decide to get a class for the 1/18 LMT scales running. Now, the one thing I will say is that on a brushless system, I don't know whether or not that they're gonna have a brushed or brushless class. My guess is that they're probably just gonna keep it brushed. So if you do this conversion, just know that there might be a chance that your local RC track will not allow the brushless system there. But then again, it's very fun to have and it's very fun to play around with at least. Okay, let's go ahead and get a couple laps in. Now, one thing I will say is that definitely having the stock servo in here, I can definitely tell a difference. Your steering angle is not going to be that good, but honestly, having that servo in there is really going to help you with burning through other servos. Now, while this truck might be a little bit difficult to drive on a track style, the one thing it is very good at is stunting. And I'll show you guys this thing. When you get full power going on the backflip ramp, the thing will just jump like a cat, you know, 5-6 feet up in the air. It's pretty crazy. Now, I'll have to be careful here because if I am not, I'll launch it right into the garage, but just watch how far this thing can jump. Now, as for the backflips, check this out. See if we can't get one going real high here. Now, the other thing I will mention is that if you guys are going to be adding in a lot of extra weight with aluminum upgrades, I would highly invest in getting some of these oil-filled shocks right here. With all the extra weight coming down and landing, you're gonna want something very good in there in order to observe it. So I do believe that getting some of these hot racing shocks or something equivalent will do you just fine. That is gonna be it for today's video. If you guys enjoyed it, please make sure you hit the subscribe button and the like button down below. All the links to all the parts that I used on this build will be in the description box as always. And if you guys have any other questions related to this build or any of my other builds in my channel, don't hesitate to ask them down in the comment section down below. And I hope to see you guys in the next one.